owl to a fierce lion who's friends with a tiny dog, here are 10 cute and unusual animal friendships. I've also noticed that most of you watching this aren't subscribed yet, so if you do like the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's absolutely free, and you can always change your mind later. And with that said, enjoy the video. Number 10. Torque and Shrek. Shrek the owl's life wouldn't have probably lasted a week if he wasn't taken away from his mother a mere 3 days after hatching. Keepers feared that his mom would eat her first clutch of eggs, which unfortunately does happen. So they took him and gave him to falconer John Picton. But under Picton's care, Shrek didn't only find a surrogate mom, but also a BFF, if you would believe it. Torque, Picton's dog, took the young bird under his proverbial wing. The two can often be seen hanging out together, indoors and outdoors. Theirs wasn't an instant friendship though. Their friendship started slowly, as Picton introduced the unlikely pair gradually. First, by feeding 3-inch high Shrek her meals of marsh rats and quail in the same room, and then holding them close so Torque could smell her. Nowadays, the two are inseparable. Number 9. Tinny and Sniffer. Dogs were used to hunt foxes. In fact, people even bred specific breeds of dogs specifically to hunt foxes. So a close friendship between the two animals seems unlikely. But, as in the case of Tinny and Sniffer, it's not impossible. Tinny the dog lives with his owner and photographer Torgeir Berge in the forests of Norway. One day, while out on a walk in the woods, they met Sniffer, a wild fox. Despite the thousands of years of breeding and the social circumstances that stood between them, the two animals became the unlikeliest of friends. Berge follows the cute couple around every time they romp and play through the woods. Of course, he always brings his camera along to capture the shenanigans of these animal friends. The way the two adorable animals play together reminds us that wild animals, which many of us fear or disrespect, can be far more similar to the domesticated animals we love than we thought. Number 8. Fred and Dennis. Fred the lab and Dennis the duck are more than just friends. To Dennis and his brothers and sisters, Fred is more like a very protective stay-at-home dad. Dennis's mom was attacked by a fox out in the wild, orphaning him and his duck siblings in the process. The ducklings were only about a week old, and would surely have followed their mom to the grave if they hadn't been taken in by Fred and his owner Jeremy Goldsmith. Unbelievably, Fred took an immediate liking to the duckling and began to clean the muddy duck with his tongue. Since then, Dennis has not stopped following him around, and Fred has pretty much adopted him. Now the inseparable pair sleep together, play together, and even go swimming in the local pond. Although admittedly, Fred is a lot less graceful in the water. Dennis even snuggles up to Fred at night. He will clamber on top of him every chance he gets. Number 7. Shere Khan, Baloo, and Leo. There's no way a lion, a tiger, and a bear would live in harmony as a trio in the wild. But surely that also holds true in captivity, right? Well, not quite, as proven by this amazing story of animal friendship, which took place at the Noah's Ark Animal Sanctuary in Locust Grove, Georgia. Baloo the bear, Leo the lion, and Shere Khan the tiger were all rescued together from a drug dealer's basement during a drug raid in Atlanta in 2001. All 3 cubs were just a few months old at the time. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources took the cubs, who were all scared, malnourished, and infected with parasites, to the 250-acre nonprofit animal rescue, and their lives were transformed. They are kept together inside a 3-acre habitat, more than enough space for each animal to live a solitary life as you would expect, but the 3 adopted brothers choose to spend their time together most of the time. Number 6. Surya and Roscoe. Surya the orangutan and Roscoe the blue tick hound, like all the animals in today's video, have developed a very unlikely friendship. But, unlike the others, these guys don't only hang out with each other, they've also co-authored a book together. But before you go thinking that any of these two could write, let me just clarify that it's a picture book that they've released, full of photos that document their unlikely friendship. The two first met when Roscoe followed staff from the Institute of Greatly Endangered and Rare Species in Myrtle Beach as they walked home. He was immediately spotted by the orangutan, who ambled over to make friends, and the rest, as they say, was history. Dogs are usually scared of primates, but the two bonded with each other straight away. The animal handlers made a few calls to see if he belonged to anyone, and when no one came forward, Roscoe ended up staying. Number 5. Candy and Manny. Manny, a wild boar piglet, was found abandoned and starving in a field near Ehringhausen in rural southwestern Germany. Fortunately, he was found by the Dollhouse family, who took him in and bottle-fed him back to health. However, it wasn't only a family that Manny found. He also found an unlikely best friend, the Dollhouse's pet Jack Russell Terrier named Candy. The two animals were introduced to each other, and early on it really looked like a match made in heaven. The two have since been doing everything together. They play hide and seek, romp around the edges and bushes, and just have a lot of fun together. According to the doll houses, Manny is trying to create an even stronger bond with Candy in a way that seems impossible. He's actually learning how to bark. Whether the wild boar will eventually bark, no one actually knows, but this is a perfect example of how friends are willing to try anything for each other. Number 4. Pippin and Kate. Deer are generally skittish creatures, usually staying way away from humans and dogs, but Pippin and Kate beg to differ. Pippin the deer was found by Isabelle Springett on her farm as a baby, either orphaned or abandoned by its mother. Springett began nursing the badly starved deer back to health with the help of Kate, the Great Dane, who treated the little fawn like her own pup. Unlike the other animals in today's video, Pippin stayed predominantly wild, preferring to sleep outdoors in the forest and staying away from the farm for days at a time. She's all grown up now, but she regularly returns to visit her adopted mother, Kate. Number 3. Cassie and Moses. Birds usually avoid cats, because cats eat birds, you see. But one extraordinary bird, a crow named Moses, not only approached the cat, he even took it upon himself to take care of the helpless feline, thus becoming the best of friends in the process. Their story began when the cat, who has since been called Cassie, was found in the yard of Wallace and Ann Colito. The couple were clearly worried about the cat. That was until they saw the poor abandoned kitten already had a caretaker, Moses. The couple would watch in amazement as Moses would pull tidbits out of the ground to feed to Cassie, just as though she was a chick. He would place the food in her mouth. He would protect her from other animals, even from the Colitos every time they tried to approach the pair, and keep her out of the street. Cassie was eventually adopted by the couple, but Moses would still come back and visit to play with his adopted cat. His visits lasted for 5 whole years until it abruptly stopped. Since crows only live for an average of 7 years, the Colitos theorized that the bird who nurtured Cassie probably has already died. Number 2. Bee and Wilma. Most people think that it's their beautifully long necks that brought Bee the giraffe and Wilma the ostrich together. But, whatever it is that did bring them together, there really is something magical about their friendship. According to the zookeepers at the Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, the two just can't seem to get enough of each other. Both animals live on a 65-acre replica of the Serengeti Plain, an exhibit filled with giraffes, zebras, rhinos, African elephants, and birds. While most animals tend to hang out with their own species, as one would expect, Bee and Wilma, who were both born and raised on the theme park grounds, have reached out to each other. Zoo visitors often see the two hanging out together, watching sunsets together, and when they think people aren't looking, even kissing each other. Or, to put it more accurately, it's mostly Bee licking Wilma with her long tongue, which Wilma doesn't seem to mind at all. Number 1. Milo and Bone Digger. Bone Digger is a huge male lion. He weighs in at 500 pounds, and like all lions, has the potential to be a killer that most men and animals, for that matter, would likely avoid. But not a little dachshund named Milo. He isn't afraid of lions. In fact, Bone Digger and Milo are the best of pals. Milo and Bone Digger live together in the GW Exotic Animal Park found in Wynwood, Oklahoma. There are actually a number of dachshunds living at the park, and all of them get along fairly well with the lion. But Milo seems to have a special place in Bone Digger's heart. The two massively different animals always hang out with each other, much to the delight of everyone who sees them. But the most surprising thing about the unusual friendship that Milo and Bone Digger enjoy is the fact that they actually communicate with each other. Though from distinctly different backgrounds, they talk to each other all the time and appear to even understand each other. Does your pet have a best friend? Let us know down in the comments. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe as well as the notification